Hello, and welcome to Cayenne Pepper Commentary. Week 1 of the NFL is wrapped up, so let's talk about what happened this week in football. This game was a series of ups and downs for both teams. Jalen Carter being ejected in the first 6 seconds of the game was a major concern for the Eagles' defense, which could have potentially cost them the game if the Cowboys weren't making equally bad mistakes. CeeDee Lamb had a phenomenal first half, but dropping multiple passes in the clutch is not what you want out of your star receiver. Speaking of star receivers, A.J. Brown only finishes the game with 1 catch, yet the Eagles still managed to pull out a victory, which tells you about the depth of this Philly roster. I hope to see improvements from both teams as they move into next week, because this was a shaky week 1 that could have gone either way. The Chargers finally break their losing streak against the Chiefs in Brazil. Justin Herbert looked how social media has been betraying him over the last several years, and the Chargers' run defense played lights out. I don't think Chiefs fans have a lot to be worried about. This team will consistently bounce back, especially with that quarterback head coach duo, but this was a fantastic start for the Chargers. Kyler Murray is on the hot seat this season, and he played like he knew it. 21 for 29 with 2 touchdowns and no turnovers, as well as finally utilizing his biggest weapon in Marvin Harrison Jr. The Saints played better than anticipated, but they'll need more from young quarterback Spencer Rattler if they want to compete in coming weeks. This game was far closer than it should have been, but a good win for the Cardinals nonetheless. The Giants need to be investigated for ruining Daniel Jones' career. The Colts scored on every single drive of the game, showing utter dominance over the Dolphins in every way. Tua throwing 2 interceptions and losing a fumble while only getting 114 yards is something your star quarterback cannot do, but nobody expected Daniel Jones to tally 3 touchdowns and only throw 7 incompletions. It is definitely an overreaction, but the Colts looked scary this week. This was a game played solely through the air. Only 114 yards rushing combined between the teams, with passing yards totaling out at 609. It wasn't the cleanest game played by both quarterbacks, with both of them ending with an interception. This game could have easily been turned around by New England if just one more of their 3 red zone attempts ended in 6, but a promising game for both quarterbacks. What a game! Both quarterbacks playing against their old team was something to prove. I actually really liked the Jets' odds in this game, but unfortunately they played the early season Steelers, who are basically unbeatable. Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin used their voodoo magic late to secure the win on their way to another 10-7 season. This game was not surprising. The Giants just aren't going to be good this year, and it was apparent. Their offense showed some life in the second quarter, but they were unable to do anything against this Washington defense. Krosky Merritt looked fantastic for the Commanders' run game, and this was a solid division win to open the season for them. Bryce Young did not look okay. Almost all game, he looked almost uncomfortable in the pocket, and the Panthers were just unable to move the football. Quarterback play on the other side wasn't much better, but Travis Etienne had a day. 143 yards on 16 carries is absurd, less so when you take away the 71-yard run, but still a great game from their workhorse. Jacksonville definitely has things to clean up, but their defense looked fantastic. The Bengals looked absolutely abysmal. How can you go all offseason being touted as one of, if not the best offense in the league, spend this much money on offensive players, and go out on the field and perform like that? I will say for the Browns, Myles Garrett earned that paycheck. He will live in Joe Burrow's nightmares for the next several weeks. The Bengals will need to turn around if they want any chance of competing in the AFC this year. The Bucs' offense looked shockingly shaky, but their defense was on fire. 7 tackles for loss and a sack helped them compete in this game against a high-powered Falcons offense. On the topic, the Falcons need more from their star-studded backfield. Penix is still a young QB, so his mistakes are slightly justified, but you need more than 2 yards a carry from your star running back. Both offenses in this game looked off, so we'll see how they adapt in coming weeks. 49ers fans have everything to celebrate about after their kicker Jake Moody was cut. He should have been cut 2 years ago. I get that the second field goal was blocked, but missing the first and almost missing the third with some of the mistakes he's made in past years is inexcusable. The Niners' defense, however, looked fantastic with crucial turnovers and big moments. Zach Charbonnet is the shining light for the Seahawks offense with 4 yards a carry and scoring their only touchdown. The NFC West is going to be a competitive division this year, so the 49ers win this week will matter at the end of this season. Calvin Ridley should be arrested after this game. The Broncos were attempting to hand Tennessee the game on a silver platter, and they still couldn't pull it off. Rookie quarterback Cam Ward actually looked pretty solid, even behind that shaky O-line, but his receivers were just incapable of holding onto the ball. Broncos, however, will need to fix Bo Nix's turnover issues if they want to compete in a stacked AFC West. There are 2 big things that need to be discussed about this game. The first is, was Ben Johnson the reason for Detroit's success? I'm writing this script before the Bears play on Monday Night Football, which may help answer that question, but the Lions struggled to move the football for a large majority of the game. The second is that could the Packers have won this game without Micah Parsons? He did have a sack in the game, but also only tallied one tackle on his spreadsheet. One of his pressures did lead to a Green Bay interception, but we'll have to see how his impact aids in future Packers games. This was not a pretty game offensively for either team. Texans get shut out in the second half and only managed to kick field goals throughout the first half. The Rams couldn't score until the 2-minute warning, and then a quick touchdown in the third marked their only points. I can't tell if both of these defenses just played lights out or if the offenses have a lot to work on. I wouldn't be too worried as a Texans fan though, especially in a weaker AFC South. This was easily the game of the week. For 3.5 quarters, this was dominated by the Ravens. Derrick Henry and Lamar were an unstoppable duo on the ground, and Zay Flowers seemed to be open on almost every play. But in the fourth quarter, the Bills seemed to wake up. Josh Allen turned into Superman, throwing one touchdown pass and running in another two. This, coupled with some crucial stops from the defense and a Derrick Henry fumble, propels the Bills to 1-0. Another game that came down to a team turning on at the right time. A mostly defensive stalwart until J.J. McCarthy remembered that he could, in fact, throw it to Justin Jefferson, allowing the Vikings to secure a Week 1 victory. The narrative about Ben Johnson being the true reason behind the Lions' success is a little shaky, but we'll see how he and Caleb Williams work through the kinks in the coming weeks. Well, that's it for Week 1. My preseason predictions helped me go 13-3 for picking this week's games, but we'll see how that changes as the year develops. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.